How y'all doing, folks? Welcome to a special rant and rave in America. And again, I know I call every video special because they are supposed to. This one is really fucking special. And I'm also on the hot seat tonight, guys. I got my wife sitting right here with me. We're going to hit on a deep subjects. We're going to be talking about depression, PTSD, anxiety. Not really fun subject to talk about, but it's been a long time overdue. We've had a few people comment and say, hey, look, well, they haven't commented on the videos, but they talked to me and said, hey, this is something you guys should be talking about. And it's something that you deal with on a daily basis, your depression, anxiety. And I think it's something to get an outside perspective on. And by outside, I mean folks that really don't know what that means is going through it. And yes, I am nervous. Again, I got my wife here.
Gotta watch what you say.
I might. But what is life? How would you explain? We'll start with depression. Going with that, dealing with it.
For me, depression, I could be happy. I could look like I'm happy. I could look like I'm on top of the world. But depression is so much more deep than that. It's not it's not a good feeling at all. I could, like I said, I could put on a front, but I could be really sad deep inside. And having anxiety with depression just makes the world just feel like it's chaotic.
So how would you put that into like an emotional sense? For those that don't understand, that don't deal with that.
Like, what do you mean?
Like, just for someone who doesn't, okay, like, they look at people and see people with depression, all that. Robin Williams, really good example I always bring up. That man brought laughter into everyone's life. He really, you thought he was a loving, caring person. He's always happy all the time. But yeah, in the core of himself, he was not.
That's a good point that you brought up, because on my saddest days, I try to do things to get myself to laugh. I try to get myself out of that funk or that depression that I'm feeling, and sometimes it's very hard. Sometimes I let it overwhelm me. Sometimes I let it get to the point where I just can't handle it anymore.
And she's right, like I said, she'd be a handful. But I love her. I love you. I do. I really do love you. I deal with it the best that I can, and I know it's not easy. But like, you can flip a switch, so to speak. Like, you'll be happy with me talking to a woman. Next thing I know, you're crying. I'm like, what happened? To put a joke out there, last time I thought she was all pissed off because Tom Brady retired. But no, that wasn't the case. She's like, no, baby, I'm like really sad right now. And it was out of the blue. It just happened like that.
Yes, as you all know, I am a Tom Brady fan. I have a big crush on him. But with that being said, yeah, I could be having a really great day, and I could be watching something and it triggers me to where I'm in tears. Or I could be reading about something that's sad and instantly I just start crying. That is what depression is. It's very hard to turn off my emotions, but very easy to turn them on. And it's not me acting or me trying to get attention. That's just how it is.
And again, that's just your point of view.
Yeah. For me, that's how it is. I don't know if that's how it is for anybody else, but that's how it is for me, myself, and I.
Is there any hints or any clues that you could give us to help us out to when we're walking through the world that we share with everybody? We're all beautiful people. Is there any clues that we can look out for that, hey, look, this person really, okay, they look happy, but really right now they're probably going through a hard time. What can I say to them? What is there a clue they give off?
This has happened to me before. I can't remember where I was, but I was having a really shitty day. Sorry. But yeah, I was. And this person came up to me. I believe I was at Walmart. Hubby was shopping, and I was talking to somebody, and I was just having a really bad day. Like my emotions were like very high, and this lady came up to me and told me I had really pretty hair. At that time, it's like, wow, she actually took the time out of her day to compliment me. That made me feel good.
But is there something you did there that maybe?
No, I was just talking to her. Like, I just told her hi, that I liked her shirt, and gave her a compliment. And she, we just started talking and told me that she really likes my hair. And that's just how it went.
So
I
there
think
really isn't a
complimenting.
trigger that we can notice. It's.
Yeah, I mean, I myself don't really try to put it out there because, like I said, I try to be a happy-go-lucky person. But there are times where, yes, I will show my emotion at the time it needs to be shown. Sometimes I cannot control that. There are times where I can.
If we, and I'm sure right now someone who's watching the video says, "Well, I gotta just think right now. Well, I got a friend. They're really depressed and they have talked about suicide and all that. How do I help them out? What advice would you have to someone like that who says, "Hey, look, I'm this is really good stuff, but what advice would you have for me? I want to help him. I want to help him or her out. I want to help my buddy out. How do I do that?"
Okay, so I've been there. Oh, this is a deep subject. So yes, I have actually just recently gotten to that point to where I wanted to end my life, correct? And I've had somebody besides my husband, somebody very close to me who I call dad. Um, I reached out to him and I told him how I was feeling, and me and him had a in-depth talk. I think just talking to somebody helps. I think somebody reaching out, everybody needs to reach out to somebody and just talk, whether, or even give somebody a hug. I think it just starts with one person reaching out to that person that's feeling down.
So regardless, guys, whether your friend is going through, him or her, whatever they're going through, just be there for them.
Exactly. That's all you can do. I mean, that has helped me, but I do know that people that I've been there for actually committed suicide when I was trying to help them. But I guess they were just so depressed and so, like, to the point where they just did not care. Um, I was not at that point to where I did not care. I was at the point where I'm just done. I've been there. I've tried taking my own life many times. But then again, I've had people besides my husband help me through it, and um, even my doctor, talk to somebody, just whoever, pull somebody aside, be like, hey, I'm having a bad day. And if you can't do that, maybe write. I love to write. Writing is one of my biggest things. I do have a journal. I do write poetry. That's also something that has helped me cope with a lot of trauma in my life.
And just so to clarify there, folks, she's actually, if you are depressed or feeling down right now, she's actually talking to you right now about that.
Yes. They say, oh, well, you need counseling. Let me tell you guys something. I was in counseling, and counseling is not for everybody. It was not for me. I had, my counselor ended up going and telling somebody about stuff that I've been through. And this happened in my hometown in Quincy. But she ended up telling somebody everything that I was going through that can relate to me. And she ended up sending whoever it was, I can't remember who it was, whoever that person was, to me. She ended up sending them to me, and to me that broke confidentiality. I will never trust a counselor in my life because of that.
One thing I do want to bring up here, it's a really good thing you brought up counseling. I've been through it before. I'm sure, well, everyone that was born in 1990 8 to 9 probably doesn't know about this. But anyone else before 1998, 99, if you guys pay attention to the news out in Colorado, that was the attachment center of Evergreen. They went through this big, huge scandal when they killed a child. I went through that type of therapy. I'm happy I made it out of that. You were watching a Dr. Phil episode, and this person, hopefully she doesn't mind calling out. I really don't think she would mind, really. I think she's really happy with the popularity. Her name is Bad Baby. She went through she went through a work camp. Well, that's what that was called through the attachment of Evergreen. Dr. Phil sent her this type of work camp.
It was some kind of ranch.
Right.
Yeah.
But what she was saying in there, it was the same thing I went through. If you were bad, you didn't get food. Instead, you got a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. You didn't get to sleep on a bed. You went and slept on a cot. You got to shovel piles of manure. You got to take care of the goats and all this. If you were bad, it got worse. And all of a sudden, you're digging in ground. You got to dig in concrete.
Basically, it was like living in a prison for her. And that's not how she should have been treated. That's not how anybody should be treated if they're bad.
Yeah, and that was just going on her. Like, I've been through that. They called it a work camp.
Yeah.
No, don't get me wrong. In a way, I'm grateful for it because I took a lot of what I learned going through that. The shit I went through wasn't worth going through it, but I did learn life lessons. It has made me who I am today. You know, if my day is going bad, if work's going like crap, you know, just push through it, get through it, make yourself stronger from it. But no one, as you said, should ever have to go through that shit. And these programs are all across the U.S. All across the U.S. And no one knows about them. And I want to bring light to a lot of that.
Mm-hmm.
I appreciate Bad Baby speaking out on all that. Or, I'm sorry, that's just how I know
Danielle
her.
Bergoli, yeah. She's
speaking
one
out
of my
because
idols.
she's given me a voice as well now. Now I can speak out about it.
Yeah. She was a troubled teen, and you know we've all been there. We've all had our troubled teen years, and she did a lot of bad things in her life, but she was also abused as a child, and she was rebelling, and to me that is a cry for help. Like, she didn't do it for attention. Okay, so I was told that because I like Dr. Phil and I like that, you know, I like Danielle Bergoli. I do follow her on YouTube, Facebook, all social media sites I follow her on. But there was this one comment from this boy, and he said that all she was doing it was for attention. Not everybody does that for attention, and I don't believe she did, because I followed her story from day one. She was abused as a child. Her father left her at a young age, and she just, you know, rebelled against that. And, you know, I've been there. I ran away from home. I got in trouble at school. I was bullied at school. From 4th grade all the way to graduation. For 8 years, I was bullied, and I think that's a lot of where my depression comes from, is because that has really hurt me. Not only what happened in my childhood, but also what I went on in with school. I hear about bullies in school all the time.
And they're still there. My dad and I we were having this conversation about this. And I think you and I might be on the same track with this. Mm-hmm. We really haven't talked about it. But I told Dad, I was like, to me, though, it really lays on the teachers and the principal and the administration of a school. If someone's getting bullied, they need to step in and take responsibility for them. My dad says no, they're just there to teach, but I look at it as also from a parent side too, not just my perspective as a parent. I drop my kids off into your establishment. Mm-hmm. They're there just to learn, mm-hmm. but it's now your job to take care of my child and make sure they're okay for the next 6-7 hours while they're inside of your care.
That's a good point right there, because my teachers knew it was going on. My dean of students and my counselor knew it was going on. The principal knew it was going on, and nobody did anything. I would go home crying. I actually tried killing myself when I was 16 because I was being bullied at school. My sister, if it wasn't for my sister, I'm not going to say her name, but if it wasn't for her, I would have never graduated high school because I wanted to drop out when I was 16. but she pushed me through, and I'm really thankful she did. But for anybody who's being bullied at school, I don't really know what to say because I guess just stand up for yourself. I never did. I took it.
The one thing I always told my kids got bullied a lot. And my daughter especially. And I always told her, she's like, Dad, they always call me fat, they always call me fat. I was like, child, let me tell you something. Cool clock on one fucking time. You've had thunder thighs since you were little, and she's gonna kill me for saying this, but she always has. I said, you've always had thunder thighs. But all of that is muscle. She's not fat. She's got a pudge, I got a pudge. But where they see her fat at is because she's got these thighs. She's got these bulky muscles. And I told her, I was like, look, they think that's fat? Deck them one fucking time. She's like, I can do that. Like, fuck yeah, you can. Deck them one time and see if they call you fat again. Go ahead and say, look, bitch, I told you I was muscle.
Wow.
But no, as you were saying, stand up for yourself. If your school's not going to do it, then it's in your power to.
My father, sorry. My adopted father went to the superintendent, and still nothing was done. He even threatened to pull me out of school. Nothing was done. So I would just go home every day and pretend I was okay, and I wasn't. I would go to my room, I would do my homework, and I would fall asleep because I did not want to deal with it. When I went to school, I would try to avoid anybody and everybody because I hated being there. I mean, it was so bad I didn't want to go to my senior prom, but I wasn't going to miss that for the world. And then when I asked my principal at the time if I could do a speech at graduation, they said no. Because they knew what I was going to do it on, and they absolutely refused me to speak. But...
Do you still have that speech?
I do. Somewhere.
I think this video, folks, was what I do with my wife. I've actually had the gumption again to get up with on my channel here with my wife. Pull up that speech. Look, sorry, having you next to me, it's a bit nerve-wracking. I love it. I really do love it. But that's a bit nerve-wracking to do a video with your wife, I tell you. Going in now off of depression, how does that play into your anxiety?
Well, like I said, excuse me, when somebody has depression and anxiety and it all happens at once, it feels like the world is just crumbling down. Like, everything's caving in, okay? And it's like you're stuck, you're trapped. Not only in your mind, but your physical body, your mental body, your spiritual body, you're trapped. And for me, it's like I can talk, I can breathe, I can't move. I'm just frozen, like just, you know what I'm saying? I'm bound by chains and I cannot escape.
I want to do a favor to our viewers out there. What is anxiety?
Do you want my opinion or do you want, I mean, because I don't really...
Let's use the definition of anxiety.
I don't really have a medical definition. I have my definition, but I don't have a medical... Actually, I'll tell you what.
If someone was to say,
okay, so,
what is anxiety?
I can tell you the symptoms of it. Like, okay, for instance, somebody who has anxiety, all right? I like to do puzzles. I like to paint. I like to draw. I like to write. I like to color. Imagine doing all of them one time. Not finishing everything, but jumping from one thing to another, to another, to another. Watching movies, not sitting still, that's anxiety. Clicking pens, that's a big one for me.
But yet, when someone then also say too, because I have some of that, then this I do have. But then someone approached and said, well, isn't that ADD?
No, there's a difference.
Where's the difference at?
I don't know. I'm not a doctor. I don't know. Because I also was diagnosed with ADHD when I was a teen. So I don't know the difference. You would have to talk to a doctor about that. Or a psychiatrist. But I don't know the difference.
Well, last time I talked to a psychiatrist, got like impression holding.
Okay, then I don't recommend you doing that. But no, I don't. To me, it all factors into one. Every mental illness all factors into one. For me. Because, like, okay, I have borderline personality disorder. Okay? They also say that's just like having bipolar. No, it's not.
Okay, if I can pause you. You've done research on your borderline personality disorder, right? You've done a lot of research on it.
Yes.
Would you be able to answer to or tell our audience what that is?
Okay. Borderline personality disorder is it's a personality disorder. It's not what do I want to say? It's not really a mental disorder, it's a personality disorder. Like, for instance, you can hate somebody, but you can love them at the same time. Like, if me and my husband was to get in a fight.
So we call that bipolar.
No. There's a difference between bipolar. Okay, bipolar people have a monotone. Bipolar people are like this. Borderline, you're like this.
But we're also talking about personalities. Like, we know what multi-personality disorder is.
Bipolar is a mental. Therefore, borderline is a personality.
We're talking about borderline personality disorder.
Yes, that's different from
bipolar.
Now,
a bunch of folks, I'm sure if you watch this right now, you will be able to tell me right now what multiple personality disorder is.
Okay, multiple.
So when I'm asking my wife to explain what is borderline personality compared to multiple personality.
Okay, borderline personality it's a disorder between neurological and psychological. It's that fine line between the two of them. That's what makes it borderline personality disorder. It's neither nor. It's in between.
So you're like walking a thin line.
Yes. Like walking on eggshells. Yes. It's that fine line between neurological, am I saying it right? And psychological.
So when you do what you do, I'm not going to go into it. When you do what you do, you still remember what you do.
Yes.
You know what you're doing.
Yes. And yes and no. Yes and no. Yes and no. Sometimes I have to be reminded, hey, you're doing this. Because sometimes I don't know. But then there are times where I do know. Where I correct myself.
And right there, folks.
That is the difference
That's the difference
between psychological and neurological.
No, that's the difference between borderline personality to multiple personality. Because multiple personality, when that other personality takes over, there is no, even if someone tells you, hey, you're doing this, they won't be able to snap out and go, oh, that's right, because they are then at that one time, that is the personality that has taken over. There's your difference.
Yes.
Just want to clear that out there for the viewers.
Yeah.
In this one here, I deal with, and I really appreciate you sticking it through me through thick and thin. Talking about PTSD
and something that I hate the most, but yes.
Yeah, she does. Oh my God, I'm a terror.
No, not just that, but PTSD is a subject that I try to avoid at all costs. I have it in a different way than he has it.
It comes in all shapes, forms, and sizes, but I will tell you one thing, it does come in. The one true form. The unseen enemy. The attack that comes out of nowhere.
Yes, for sure. And being on a medication that just made it more intense. Was not fun.
I don't think there is medication out there for PTSD. I have yet to find one that actually alleviates any, all of the issues. It might alleviate this issue, it might alleviate this issue.
Well, the biggest thing with my PTSD is the flashbacks and nightmares. If I could get them to go away, I would be fine. But I don't think they're ever going to go away. I mean, they may lessen, but they're not going to just disappear.
Yours lessen? Shit, I wish mine lessen.
I'm just saying they can lessen. They can. But I have seen where you've seen it just recently. I have a nightmare or two every night to where I wake up screaming, crying, yelling, even for my dog, when he's in the kennel. I didn't know that because I'm so caught up into the nightmare that sometimes when I wake up, it still feels like it's happening, And that's a big issue for me because it affects my whole day.
There was one, I don't know if I woke you up with it. There was one night I woke up, I missed off to the bathroom. And all I kept doing, I ran water for 15 minutes. I think it could have been an hour. Felt like 15 minutes. Went back to bed. Got up the next morning, I just was not right. My wife knew I wasn't right. She goes, "Babe, were you okay?" I said, "No, I'm not okay." She goes, "What happened?"
He had an attitude.
I said, big time attitude. I just wanted everyone to leave me the fuck alone. I was like, "Look, man, I just buried my fucking brother again. His blood was on my damn pants. It's all over me. I still feel like I can't get it off of me." That's my scenario that doesn't go away. That does not lessen at all. That is hard to deal with. It's very hard to deal with.
They say that PTSD is a joke. No, it's not. Especially for people who have been in a war. I mean, I have met people who have served our country, and they are not the same.